Hello, and welcome to Psychology Demystified. Today's topic covers burnout. Would you know if you're burnt out? Burnout and depression often get confused and diagnosed for each other because they are so similar. Now, one thing you need to know about burnout and depression is that they are related in some way, but studies are still continuing to find out where exactly they overlap each other. Depression can be linked to work or no work. Burnout, on the other hand, is a product of chronic work stress and disengagement. Professionals who are burnt out often report problems with being attentive. There are different levels of reporting when it comes to men and women when it comes to burnout. Men are less likely to report that they're feeling burnt out or stressed, while women are considered 1.6 times more likely to express when they're feeling burnt out or stressed. The reason why this is so is because men are less willing to report that they're feeling fatigued. And when asked why this is so, a lot of men say that, especially through studies and questionnaires and reports, some men have said that, to me it would be a sign of weakness, or I have so many things on my shoulders and so many things I need to fulfill that I can't afford to be fatigued. I can't afford to show that I'm tired because I have people who rely on me. And unfortunately, dear men, this has to change. Just for you, it really does have to change. And the only way change can happen, whether you're a man or a woman who's experiencing burnout, is by starting to recognize the warning signs of when you're starting to feel burnt out. For a person to be diagnosed with burnout, there are some key components that need to be seen to be present. To start with, someone needs to be feeling emotional exhaustion. When you feel emotionally exhausted, you feel tired all the time. You don't feel like facing your workday, even if it's just a normal day. You might wake up every morning with a feeling of dread, like, oh my goodness, it's Monday again. And not just typical Monday blues, but almost every day you just wake up with this feeling of dread. And day after day you feel like this and it doesn't lift. And even after a week off, it just doesn't feel like it's lifting. It's more than likely that you're someone who's dealing with heavy workloads or difficult workplace circumstances that are the ones wearing you out. A second thing someone might feel is depersonalization or cynicism. You might have started off your job as someone who really enjoyed dealing with people and also meeting new clients. But over time, you find yourself feeling increasingly angry and irritable toward them. And then you have a growing sense of detachment from your work. And sometimes you start to become really alarmed by how cynical you've become about a job that you really used to love. When you're experiencing cynicism, what happens is that projects that used to make you feel invigorated stop doing that for you. And then everything and everyone at work just seems to rub you the wrong way. And where you used to put in all your and your enthusiasm and you were excited about different projects, now you find that you start to do just the bare minimum just to get by. You could also be experiencing reduced personal efficacy. This is where you feel like you're losing confidence in your ability to do a job that you're pretty much good at. And you find yourself working harder and harder and you seem to just accomplish less and less. And then your productivity drops significantly. Your belief in yourself starts to fall along with it. In order to claim to be suffering from full-fledged burnout, you need to be experiencing all three of the things I just mentioned. If you're feeling two of them, then it's just simply time to start to pay attention. But if it's three, you are experiencing burnout. But let's keep going because there are other warning signs that show you that you're heading towards burnout or that you simply are already burnt out. Every curveball that comes your way becomes a major crisis. You start to know that something's wrong when even the small issues that happen at work start to produce a small emotional reaction for you. You start to feel depleted by your own burnout. And then you start to feel like you don't have the mental or physical resources to distinguish between when a problem is a small one and when a problem is a big one. Consistent or chronic low energy and exhaustion. According to Leiter and Maslach, 2005, exhaustion is one of the 3 big dimensions of burnout. This exhaustion that's associated with burnout is on a different level than just feeling tired here and there. Feeling tired here and there is normal in everyday life. But this kind of tired is where it's chronic. It's where you always feel like you're overwhelmed and you're just maxed out. You might find that you're getting sick more frequently. When you're excited about a job, stress and adrenaline keep you going. But eventually, the stress and adrenaline become something that wear off, and then your body starts to crash when this happens. And then when this takes place, the result is that your immune system then now breaks down and makes you more susceptible to getting sick. And feeling sick could be anything from a cold or a flu or even a severe headache or stomach aches, and even in some cases, heart palpitations. Not recharging and not relaxing. Sometimes it's possible to feel that taking a break is stigmatized in our work culture. But recovery is an important component of the burnout prevention process, so it's important to take a break. Studies about recovery say that there are 2 main stages of recovery. Number 1 is how you recharge each day while you're at work. And number 2 is how do you recharge after work, each night, on weekends, and even when you are on vacation. How do you do this? Do you fully switch off? Feeling disengaged and also being consistently checked out. Burnout is a process of unplugging from those things that give you energy and enthusiasm while you're at your job. When someone's burnt out, they can't engage. The opposite of burnout is work engagement. And this is where there's a blend of energy and commitment that's always potent when it comes to your job. When you're burnt out, you might experience feelings of not being able to let go of perfection. According to Aydemir and Icelli, research shows that perfectionistic tendencies are associated with a higher risk of burnout because perfectionistic behavior patterns drain your energy. Granted, there are professions where a lot of room for error is not acceptable. For example, surgeons, air traffic controllers, pilots, anyone who has lives in their hands, for them, room for error is almost, let me say it's nil. But then in the role that you have, you need to ask yourself, is perfectionism necessary for the task that I am doing right now? And a lot of times you will find that if you question yourself, you'll find that the answer is no. And finally, too many job demands and not enough job resources. Job demands on their own are not bad because when you think about it, job demands are the ones that allow you to meet your targets, meet your goals, and pretty much do the job you're doing. However, job demands need to be made easier by the availability of job resources. If there's too much of one and not enough of the other, you find yourself struggling to meet your goals and your targets, and that can lead to burnout. Burnout has actually been described as one of the biggest occupational hazards in the 21st century. So it's important for workplaces and organizations to educate their employees and allow them to realize when they're feeling burnt out, because recognizing that you're feeling burnt out and taking steps to reduce the burnout actually helps to significantly reduce burnout's impact. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please continue to be kind because it costs you nothing and it could mean the world to someone else. And to you, hugs and kindness always.